Hey YouTube, Jim here. Welcome to Top 10 Archive. Now I know what you're thinking, and no, the Streisand Effect isn't when you break out in Barbra Streisand's greatest hits and people join in dancing uncontrollably as if bitten by the Streisand bug. But in plain terms, the Streisand Effect refers to when something is censored, but in being censored winds up getting more publicity in the process. Now we've compiled these 10 instances of this unusual and often hilarious effect for your viewing pleasure. Now before we dive into the Streisand Effect, why not take part in the Jim Dennison Effect? That's when Top 10 Archive viewers hit the subscribe button, click the bell, and give the video a thumbs up. So go ahead and give it a try. It's contagious.
Number 10. Uber in central London. When Uber rolled out, it caught the attention of taxi drivers in the cities where it was accessible. Las Vegas underwent a rather long back and forth before the city was able to settle the outrage of its taxi union. A similar scenario played out in many European cities when the rideshare company came around. And when taxi drivers protested, the response was not what they had envisioned. When Uber came to Europe, it wasn't well known to the public. So when the taxi drivers protested, they, in turn, provided much-needed free advertising for their rival. While 10,000 drivers caused gridlock to places like central London, Uber saw a spike in downloads of its mobile app. Number 9. Samsung vs. Ghostlyrich. After YouTube user Ghostlyrich posted a video of his freshly charred Samsung Galaxy S4, Samsung stepped in with some very odd business practices. Though the company offered to replace the phone, it would only do so if Ghostlyrich removed the YouTube video and refrained from making future videos about the issue. Oh, and Ghostlyrich wasn't allowed to disclose the details of the settlement either. As you can see, it went exactly as Samsung planned. Ghostlyrich followed up with a video about Samsung's shady practices, which received hundreds of thousands of views. Number 8. AACS Encryption Key. In short, the Advanced Access Content System (AACS) Encryption Key was a security measure on HD DVDs and Blu-ray discs to prevent the use of circumvention technology. In 2007, after the hexadecimal key was leaked on several smaller websites, the aggregate news site Dig received a cease and desist letter forcing it to remove traces of the key and users that reposted it. In response to the sudden legal attention being given to the AACS, Dig users continued to post the key and turned to other sources to spread it. Once news outlets started to cover the story, some even using the number while citing its use on Dig, the AACS encryption key became widespread public knowledge. Number 7. The Pirate Bay. In 2012, the United Kingdom High Court attempted to sever access to the torrenting website, The Pirate Bay. It ruled that a selection of internet service providers were required to block subscriber access to the website, which promoted the sharing of copywritten content. The team at The Pirate Bay didn't expect the block to work, and instead felt that the ruling provided a bit of free advertising to the website. After the ruling was made public, The Pirate Bay revealed that it had received an increase of 12 million visitors. Number 6. The Interview. Seeing as how the whole plot of The Interview was about assassinating Kim Jong-un, it's understandable why North Korea wasn't too pleased with it. What the nation did wrong, however, was make such a big deal out of it. There wasn't much anticipation over Sony's Seth Rogen and James Franco comedy, but when North Korea publicly spoke out against Sony and the scene of Kim Jong-un's death leaked online and was quickly removed, everyone was suddenly interested. Things got even weirder when the Guardians of Peace hacked Sony and threatened deadly attacks on theaters that screened The Interview, forcing major chains to pull the movie and George R.R. Martin to offer showings at his cinema. Sony temporarily shelved the movie before releasing it to a much larger audience than it would have had the leaders of North Korea kept quiet. Number 5. Amy's Baking Company. Amy's Baking Company of Arizona wasn't a nationally known establishment going into 2010, but after receiving a 1-star review on Yelp, the owner was sure to take care of that. The customer's review complained of an undercooked pizza, an issue that surely even the best pizza restaurants have from time to time. In response to the review, the owner, Amy Buzoglu, lambasted the customer, calling him a moron, a loser, and ugly. By the time the restaurant wound up on Kitchen Nightmares more than 2 years later, it had already earned national recognition for being the place to go, not for a good meal, but for a sideshow. Number 4. The Prisoners of Tunisia. In 2007, the government of Tunisia blocked general access to YouTube and Dailymotion when it was discovered that videos showing political prisoners were posted. Political activists and their supporters caught wind of the block and the reasoning why, and turned it into a spectacle. Rather than just protest, they took things a step further and placed a Google Earth link to the location of then-President Zine El Abidine Ben Ali's palace on videos about civil liberties. Zine El Abidin's attempt to cover up the treatment of Tunisia's political prisoners turned into a global spectacle. Number 3. The J-Law leaks. In 2014, Jennifer Lawrence became one of the many starlets that had private images of themselves leaked onto the internet. Immediately after, a publicist announced that anyone that posted any of the stolen photos would face the long arm of the law. Unsurprisingly, the threat didn't work. In fact, it spurred the creation of a hashtag #LeakForJLaw. From there, things just got out of hand, especially after 4chan tried to hinder any postings of the images without realizing that if even just one pixel was changed, users could work around the block. Number 2. The Beyonce Photos. If you've spent any amount of time on the internet, you know which photos we're talking about. Admittedly, they're not all flattering. But what does one think's going to happen when they request that images remain private? You guessed it, they get even more press. The images in question came from her performance at the Super Bowl 47 halftime show in 2013. When BuzzFeed published the string of photos showing an animated Beyonce, her publicist went to work respectfully requesting that they be removed. We all know BuzzFeed's thirst for views, however, so of course, they republished them in a separate buzzworthy post along with the email request. From there, they circulated through many other outlets. Number 1. Barbra Streisand. It's not that we've saved the best for last, but we certainly saved the most important. This 2003 incident is where the effect gets its name, and actually does involve famed performer Barbra Streisand. California Coastal Records Project photographer Kenneth Adelman had taken 12,000 images of the California coastline to study erosion in the area, inadvertently capturing Streisand's modest estate in the process. When Streisand sued Adelman over the unauthorized photo to keep it private, fearing it provided a layout for potential criminals, 4 people had viewed it on Adelman's website. After the $10 million suit went public and news outlets started running the story, the image started to receive millions of views. In the end, a Los Angeles judge dismissed the case. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe, click the bell, give this video a like, leave your comments below. And, oh yeah, here's a couple of more videos to enjoy right now.